Tim began volunteering with the Salvation Army in January of this year. Well, it was actually community service, but he's a loyal volunteer now, and he'll tell you his story in this week's Salvation Army News Update. In January of this year, Tim called our volunteer coordinator, Joanna, and told her he'd like to work with the Salvation Army for community service. Tim had received a speeding ticket and needed to do 20 hours of community service. Joanna plugged him into our community meals program, and from there, God took over.
It's an interesting point in my life. I'd had a series of losses over the past couple of years, people that were very, very important to me, and I think I was sort of at a point in my life to where maybe I was a little empty, and I got a speeding ticket. I had just gone through a pretty bad breakup and got a speeding ticket. When I called Joanna, I told her, I said, I'm here, and she goes, well, I said, I've got to do some community service. And she goes, for what? And I said, speeding ticket. I said, it wasn't about the hours, it was about finally getting the little bit of motivation to get me involved. And again, the Salvation Army was definitely the place I wanted to first come to. My schedule was 6 to 7:30, and I started showing up at 5:15, and I started really enjoying the residents. Okay, because the residents are fed between 5:30 and 6, and so as I was serving them, I'd get to talk to them. Hey, how you doing? Get to know them by their name. I can remember one night it was real slow, and we all sat down at the table. There was nobody here, and there was 8 of us. And we just had a conversation, and it felt so good, just to get to know some of them and see that they're feeling really, really positive at that point, and this is something that's going to, make their life better. Keith was an individual that came in quite was every day, and when I was in here, we got to talking. We talk about basketball, we talk about everything, and told me he's from Northern Virginia, and we got talking a little bit about. I told him a little bit about the fact that for myself, I had been sober almost 13 years. And came to a point in my life to where I wanted to make a change in my life. And he opened up to me a little bit, and we just sort of got, as time went on, he was one of the individuals that I really got to talk to a lot, and would come in here and just how you doing, and became sort of a friend even over 40 days or so. I told Joanne I needed to take a month off there, and so I didn't do any volunteering for about 3 weeks. And right before I left, Keith told me, he says, hey Tim, I want to let you know I got a job up at Willow Lawn. And I said, well, great. And I remembered him telling me that he got a job up at Willow Lawn, but he didn't tell me where. 3 weeks later, it was like a Friday or something, and I left sort of early and went to Domino's Pizza and ordered a pizza, and the guy said, hey, it's going to take 15 minutes. And I was at Willow Lawn, sitting out at the park bench, and just sitting there, gorgeous day out, and I remember looking there for a second and thinking, I'm right in front of the liquor store, and it's not even really, pulling me. I'm thinking, every day's, and every day you got to keep focused in that. But coming up on my 13th anniversary, and then Keith comes up and he's like, Tim, what are you doing here? And I said, it took me a minute, and I said, Keith? And he said, yeah. And he said, I didn't see you the last. And I said, well, I left. And he just said, I just can't thank you enough, and Cara and Miss Drew and Tony and everybody down there that has helped me out. And we talked for about 10 or 15 minutes, and he was working at a restaurant up there, and he said, I've got my old job back up in Northern Virginia. And he goes, I'm going to be moving back up there, and I'm going to be back with my kids. Gave each other a hug, and it just really, I felt like that was meant to be, meant for me to be there, meant for me to see him. At that point, it just really I'd already felt good about being involved with the community meals program. I'd felt really, really good about it, and just being a part of it, and a real positive part of my life. And after that, it really hit home, that, what this is doing, and the success rate, and how somebody can come down here and go through that, and get themselves back to where they want to be. Been a great uplifting experience, and that I got to say that one moment in time when I saw Keith that Friday, I don't think I'll ever forget it. I think I can remember the sunny day. I think I can remember sitting on that park bench. I can remember him with the New York Jets hat on. It's an image in my head that I do think that, you know, I will remember for the rest of my life, because I really believe that if we can continue to do this program, that there's going to be success out there, and we're going to continually see success out there. And I hope everybody involved realizes that, and you know, we continue to go forward with it.
And thinking about Tim's comments on taking one day at a time, you can't help but call to mind Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, on not worrying about tomorrow, but rather focusing on the worries of today. Thanks for taking time to check out this new take on the news update. Remember, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another news update, and next week we'll have some photos of the week past. To stay up to date on news from the Salvation Army in Central Virginia, visit us online at salvationarmycentralva.org. Click News in the top right-hand corner, and on the right-hand side you'll see Sign Up for Alerts. Enter your information, and weekly you'll receive news from the Salvation Army. Thanks for watching this Salvation Army News Update.